There are many questions in the world, but I personally think that the biggest questions are: what is the highest damage in Plants vs Zombies 2? What is the lowest damage in Plants vs Zombies 2? Who does the highest DPS? Who does the lowest DPS? Who has the most health? Who has the least? These questions have been pondered for so many years now. With the help of Almanac, the Wikipedia, and filthy Reddit, we're gonna finally answer those questions. For I am the Messiah of PVZ 2. I made a list of several plants that could be possible contenders for highest damage. And it goes like this. We have Coconut Cannon, Wintermelon, Citron, Banana Launcher, Jack-o'-lantern, Mistletoe, Tomato, and Ice Shroom. The reason why I picked these is because they're like most known for having most damage. So we put them in the list. In order, Coconut Cannon does 900 damage. Wintermelon does 85 damage. Citron does 850 damage. Banana Launcher does 1200 damage. Jack-o'-lantern does 350 damage, but that's DPS. In general, it would be much more than that. Mistletoe does 1200 damage. Tomato does 1700 damage. And Ice Shroom only does 200 damage. Of course, we can remove Ice Shroom and Wintermelon with the fact that they have the lowest damage. Obviously, we can remove Jack-o'-lantern, Coconut Cannon. Now we're stuck with Tomato, Banana Launcher, and Mistletoe. Here's the complicated part. Tomato at his highest does 1700 damage. At his lowest, he does much less than that. Banana Launcher is really, it does 1200 damage no matter what. It doesn't need upgrades. It by itself as a plant, it only costs that much. Mistletoe, while she does do the same damage, she does have a 50% chance of not doing that much damage. Therefore, can be Mistletoe. So, is the highest damage plant really Banana Launcher? Well, it's a bit complicated to say, especially because a lot of these different plants are kind of, they're technically high damage. Like again, Mistletoe does 1200 damage. Like I mentioned, not always, so we can disregard her. It's mostly a matter of Tomato and Banana Launcher. Does Tomato really count? If as soon as you plant him, it's not like he does 1700 damage immediately. No, you have to keep upgrading him. So in conclusion, the winner is Banana Launcher for highest damage of the game. Not highest DPS. Let's go to who can do the highest DPS in the game. DPS means damage per second. There were many plants that I chose to decide what was the highest DPS, and the list goes: Celery Stalker, Ghost Pepper, Jack-o'-lantern yet again, Parsnip, Tomato yet again, Head Butter Lettuce, Gloomvine, Magnifying Glass. So, Celery Stalker does 100 damage every 0.5 seconds, which means he does 200 damage per second. Jack-o'-lantern does 300 every 1 second, which leads to 300 damage per second, obviously. Magnifying Glass does 550 damage every 0.3 seconds, which leads to 1833 DPS, which is insane, by the way. Ghost Pepper only does 60 DPS. Tomato doesn't really do that with high DPS until he reaches his final form, which is only 186 DPS, while Head Butter Lettuce does 200. Gloomvine does 90. In conclusion, we can already quickly dumb it down to 3 different plants: Magnifying Glass, Jack-o'-lantern, and Celery Stalker. It's a little bit obvious who won. The winner of the highest DPS is Magnifying Glass. Yeah! Woo! Magnifying Glass! Yeah! I didn't want to go through every single plant to see which would have the lowest DPS, so I just narrowed it down to 3 plants. Therefore, this section might be a little bit shorter than the usual. But the 3 plants that I have are Electric Pea Shooter, which does 5 damage every 2.4 seconds, which is 2.083 DPS. Lightning Reed, that does 10 damage every 1.5 seconds, which is 6.667 DPS. And Dust Lover, that does 30 damage every 3 seconds, which is just 10 DPS. So, before I say the answer, I know a lot of people are going to comment on the fact that obviously Cherry Bomb and Grape Shot, etc. obviously have much more DPS, or stuff like the Bzz button obviously has less DPS than, these 3 picks. The reason why I'm not going to put those in the competition, because it's a little bit unfair. Obviously Cherry Bomb has much more DPS than any of these plants, so it's a little bit obvious that that is gonna be the one with the highest DPS. And those are instant plants. I'm not doing instant plant. Boost button is also an instant plant, so it doesn't count. I'm only doing plants that stay in your garden permanently, or at least for some time. In conclusion, if you haven't figured it out already, the winner of the lowest DPS is Electric Pea Shooter. I mean, come on, look at him. He's pretty slow. And like mentioned, he does 2.083 DPS. That's pretty freaking low. I thought Lightning Reed was gonna be the slowest one, because Lightning Reed's fairly slow. But nope, it seems like Electric Pea Shooter is the lowest DPS plant in the game, apart from the obvious ones that we are not counting because they're instant plants. So yeah, good job, Electric Pea Shooter, even though this isn't an award that you want, because low DPS isn't necessarily good. It means you're slow. Not only that, but it means you don't do much damage either, because if you do 5 damage every 2.4 seconds, that's genuinely insane. I looked through every single plant to see which ones have the highest health, and surprisingly, it's harder than you think actually. For our main 4 selections, I have Tana, Primal Wana, Pumpkin, and Gumnut Gum. I thought Pumpkin was gonna be much higher health than he actually is. He's only 4,000 health, so I removed him immediately. Then until I reached Primal Wana, where I had a little bit of a situation. Primal Wana only has 4,000 health. He can take many hits from a Gargantuar. Does that mean that he has much more health than Entitled? Not necessarily. Tana and Gumnut Gum both have 8,000 health, which means they both would be tied. But technically, Primal Wana would also have as much health, no? Or maybe even more, because it can take a Gargantua attack. But at the end of the day, doesn't mean that it has higher health, because Spike Rock can take the Gargantua hits. Doesn't mean that he has lower high health. He doesn't have any health. He can't be eaten. So, in conclusion, it's the Tyrant. Not gonna lie, this really changes my opinion about Tana. I never really used Tana throughout PVZ 2, thinking it'd be kind of useless. But now that I see that it has a lot of health, it really changes my perspective on him. Same with Gumnut Gum. I never use him. Okay, a lot of people are going to say the obvious ones, Sunbeam and Shadow Shroom, or like Hypno Shroom, because obviously as soon as they're bitten, they're gone. So anyone would naturally say those plants. But it can be the same rule applied to the high DPS and low DPS plants, where stuff like Cherry Bomb and Grape Shot will obviously have high damage, but you know, they're instant plants. These plants they count as instant plants as well, like Sunbeam, Shadow Shroom, Hypno Shroom, etc. They count as instant plants. I mean, they're not really in the grass for that long. They're gone after a few minutes or a few seconds. So in conclusion, we won't really count them as, the lowest health plants, because obviously they're gonna have the lowest health. I'm not even gonna narrow it down. Just one look and you can already see that, oh, it's gonna get eaten fast. The Puff Shroom. I mean, look at it. The Puff Shroom, it obviously is gonna have some low health. It's 0 sun, and it's pretty tiny. It's a pretty tiny mushroom. Of course it's gonna disappear after, being eaten. It only has 150 health. For comparison, the Sunbeam, the Shadow Shroom, and I think the Hypno Shroom too, all 3 have only 50 health. So the Puff Shroom just 100 more health. I mean, that is not that much. If it isn't obvious already, I'm rating these plants based on their first levels, not their highest ones, because their highest levels are always absolutely insane when it comes to these kind of things. The answer to this question is one of the most annoying zombies known to mankind. Known to this game in general. This zombie made me want to rip my hair out when I first started the game. And of course, the zombie is the zombie chicken. Yes, it counts. It counts its own entity. It's in the almanac as its own separate entity, therefore it's its own zombie. The zombie chicken only has 1 health, as in 1 hit and it's already gone. Of course, that doesn't mean that the zombie chicken is weak. I mean, it comes in different groups, out with different groups, and it goes in 3 different bros, I think. So that's what makes it hard. I thought the Ice Weasel and the zombie chicken both had the same health, but it doesn't actually. The Ice Weasel actually has 40 health, which makes it a little bit much more than the zombie chicken. That's 39 more health. But yeah, it's the zombie chicken. So compiling every zombie to see which one has the highest health was much more difficult than I thought it would be. I noticed that every single Gargantuar has different health. Every single one, except for, I guess, the Mummified and the higher Gargantuar. They both have the same amount of health, but all the other ones, they all have high, lows. But I've noticed that, you know, the Gargantuars, none of them have the highest health, actually. There are 3 that I compiled that seem to have the highest health, and it's a lot. The Treasure Yeti, the Z-Mech, the Cardio Zombie, and the Roman Caesar Zombie. Surprise, surprise, 3 of them are new zombies in a way, so yeah. No, just a coincidence, I guess. But yeah, the Treasure Yeti has 6,500 health. The Z-Mech, it switches on through the 3 different stages, but the first stage has 10,000, the second stage is 12,500, and the third stage is 14,000 health. The Cardio Zombie also has 3 different stages, 8,000 health for the first, 10,000 for the second, 15,000 for the third. And the Roman Caesar Zombie, 3 stages, 15,000 for the first, 16,500 for the second, and 18,000 for the third. Of course, hearing these different health numbers, we can obviously decide that Roman Caesar Zombie has the highest health. We're not gonna count Zomboss. Zomboss obviously has the highest health out of all of these. Every Zomboss, you know, has a lot of health. But yeah, the Roman Caesar Zombie seems to have the highest ones, with these 3 other ones also being high contenders. If you want to get curious about which Gargantua has the highest health, it seems like the Gladiator Gargantua has the highest health. That's really it for all these different plants and zombies. I mean, now you know which plants have the highest damage. Now you know which plants suck. Now you know which zombies suck, and now you know which zombies you should crap your pants when you see them. I mean, I guess I'm just a PVZ professional. I just know my stuff, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm just a PVZ god. I'm joking, by the way. I'm far from that. But if you like this video, let me know. Subscribe, fuel my ego, and if you don't like it, click away. So yeah, bye bye.